Let's do the same over here. And yeah, well, luckily we don't need to change the base shape, so we don't need to redo the high poly for that. So yeah, I'll make sure to triple check my work later on. I do always like glance over it, but with something like this, it's sometimes a bit tricky to see. Okay, those are fine, right? Yeah. Okay, so for these pieces, just select, like double click on your edge here. Just do a quick Ctrl B. And then let's select this. Here you go, just to compensate for the same bevel. And I think that should do the trick. Now it might make it a bit more annoying for us to turn this into a high poly. Because now of course we break our polygon flow because we turn it into a bevel. But honestly, it should be fine. Like, it's not difficult turning this into a high poly, so I'm just gonna merge this one. Yeah, what turned out to be a box ends up being still more work than expected. Same over here. Okay. So for these pieces, let's quickly go into my high poly and just delete them. And then go into our low poly, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, move to collection, HP. Ta-da. And now that we're here again, now we can continue. So most likely this will all be broken until we press K and place a simple cut from here to here. And once we do that, this should all be fixed again. Which means that we can... Well, is this one fixed? Yeah, I guess it's fixed. So we can do that one too. I just wonder if this supporting loop is already enough to support this. Or if we maybe need to do like a very quick K. And just make like a cut from here to here. And maybe do the same over here. From here to like here. So, something like that. And maybe do another one here just to like hold that corner. I think that's it, right? Let's try this out. Multi-resolution. Subdivide this 3 times. Alt-U. Okay. I just want to see is my... Yeah, let's also just do a few loops here, because else we lose that variation that we added. Now it will be mostly visible on this one, but... Just want to already add it. So one Ctrl R here. Another one here for good measure. Let's press K. Let's place a cut here. And then we will have one loop here. One here. One here. And now for these pieces, just go ahead and like place a few loops here. Just to make sure that we get that angle variation, that it doesn't just all fade out into one big smoothness. Like that. Let's try that out. Multi-resolution, subdivide. Yeah, you got a little bit here, but I did kind of expect that to happen. So I'm not too worried about that, because it's so small. Let's do Alt-U. There we go. Yeah, you can look through it a tiny bit here, but honestly... Is that even in the low poly? Here in the low poly, if we just move it down a little bit. And then in our high poly. Oh, in a high poly it looks like it's further down. Just do this. Oh, it's because this one, of course, is smoother now. But that should be fine. For such small things, this should be fine. So let's save our scene. Okay, so now that we've done that, for high poly, just on these corners over here, what we might be able to do is if we go to sculpting, and let's see if there's like a brush. So I basically want to get like, do I have like a reference? I just want to get like some random edge variation on this. Now, most likely I need to first actually, go to window. And for this one, let's turn off optimal display. I just want to make sure that if I go to wireframe, oh, That's why. Make sure to turn it on. And I'm going to subdivide it once more, so 4 times. And I'm actually going to press apply so that we have this as actual geometry, because else we don't have a lot to sculpt it. Then turn off wireframe. Go to sculpting. Now most of these, they are just like basic stuff like this. Oh, and my symmetry is turned on. That is over here. Can I use my symmetry? It might save us time. Basically, so we have flatten. I want to see. I'm just going to do this with my mouse. I'm not going to grab my drawing tablet for something this small. Just I guess flattening. Yeah, I guess we can go for flattening. Sorry, what am I doing here? Oh, too far. Sorry, I wasn't doing it. There we go. My view bugged a little bit. So we have this flattening. What if I set this to plus? Yeah, there we go. So just setting this to plus means that we basically invert it. So my idea is to now, like, kind of also here on the side, just like let's press this. Just going to go ahead and set this to let's see, fall off is smooth. Let's set our fall off to like a linear. Just want to see how that looks. And I think that for these corners, so I will get back to those corners, because I think for that we need to have something like a normal brush to just like edit it. So let's start with just something like this. It's just quite nice and basic. It's just clamping those edges together and also the areas around those edges. Now at this point I'm just going to turn off my symmetry, because I just want to do some more unique stuff where I just go around the edges. Flatten out. I know it doesn't look good right now, but that's something that will come. Just give me 1 second. So basically I'm just going to go around the edge a bit. And then for these pieces I'm just going to turn this most likely to draw sharp. What if I set my fall off to back to smooth? Let's undo that for a second. Fall off back to smooth. And I want to just set my radius a bit bigger. There we go. And it's always a bit tricky on those edges, so do set the radius a bit smaller again. So we kind of like want to maybe if we just do normal draw. Said I don't use these brushes often. Oh, that's way too much. Sorry, let's undo that. I didn't realize I was bumping in that much. I just want to get like some very small bumps, and you can go like still too strong. Sorry. Let's go ahead and set the strength a bit down. So basically we can make the bumps a bit bigger than we would really like, because remember, this still needs to be quite a perfect box. The only reason that we can make it a bit bigger is because we, like in the normal map, you lose some of that detail. Now here you can see me holding shift, and I'm doing shift to basically smooth things out. So shift is basically smooth. And that can sometimes be good if we like went a little bit too over the top, to break things down a little bit more. But yeah, this tutorial is definitely not about sculpting inside of Blender. If I would do, like, if it would be intense sculpting, well, actually even for a box, I would often just go to ZBrush, because that's what I'm used to. But of course, when I'm teaching, I do not want to like do an entire new program just to break up some edges. I think that would be a little bit too overwhelming, while we can also just do it inside of Blender. So, and there's so many ZBrush tutorials out there on it, so it's not like it's missed out information. Here I'm just going to basically keep breaking up the edges a little bit, and then I'm smoothing them. See? So your box starts to become a little bit more, especially around the corners, because the corners is where they are probably the most fragile and where they will hit the ground the most. So that's just where I like try to break things up. And of course I also don't have that much resolution. Like sure, we have what, 70,000 verts. If I would be ZBrush, I would be doing this at like 2 or 3 million. Just to really get them there. But in Blender, I don't think Blender is, on my PC at least, it's not going to like 3 million polys. And also for the exporting and the baking and everything, it's just slow. So I'm just doing this with like lower resolution. But honestly here, you can see that this feels a lot more like one of these boxes. Like see these edges? That feels a lot better. Maybe over here just do some more smoothing. Just hold shift. Just wherever we have like too intense of an edge. Then the default would look. Yeah, I think that should be totally fine. I'm just gonna do some, hold shift and just do some more smoothing down here. Just to break up those edges that we created before. And maybe a little bit more down here on the side. Maybe a bit more down here. Yeah, I'm gonna call that done. Let's go to layout. Object mode. There we go. So we got that edge over here. Now for this one, I don't need the edge because I need to have this very specific. So I'm not going to do any sculpting. It's mostly on those sides. In order to make this feel like it's part of it, we do stuff like this, where we change the edges a little bit around. But I think this should be fine. So we got our high poly done. And we have our low poly over here. Now we still got some time left. So honestly what we can do is we can just do the unwrapping in this chapter if you don't mind. Because the unwrapping is going to be very fast. Like we have this one. If we go to UV editing, go to edit mode, turn on the UV sync, and let's have a look. So all I want to do here is I'm probably going to just double click this edge. And I'm going to probably double click, let's do 2. Let's do this side and this side, just to have enough resolution. Oh, that's too bad. We need to do it by hand, because it looks like that else it loops around. Which I do not want. So select this by hand up until this point. And then over here, select this by hand up until this point. U, mark seam, select it, U, unwrap. Okay, that's that one, already done. And then for these ones, all we need to do is probably just press U and unwrap. No, we need to do the corners. So let's do an Alt-I. And for the corners, so let's press U and just do a live unwrap. Just make it easier. So I would say this corner. Actually, you know what? Let's do, because we have like a little corner here. Let's do every corner. We just want to select it. Mark seam. There you go, see? So we'll turn it nice and flat. Same over here, just select this. This one and this one. U, mark seam. There we go. Alt U. Select everything and go press tab to go to edit mode. And I'm just gonna select everything. By the way, just press in object mode Q and reset the transforms. And now if we go UV, we can go average island scale, and that's why we reset it. And UV back islands. And yeah, I might be repeating myself quite a bit. This is just because I know that some people might be skipping through specific parts in the tutorial. Although the later on we get in the tutorial, the less I will explain. Some basic functions you will just need to live with me repeating it, just to include everyone. But that's all looking good. So we've got the UV done, save as scene, and we have got the high poly done, which means that in the next chapter what we will do, because I believe we now got everything. Yeah, in the next chapter we are going to go ahead and we are going to get started with the texturing of it. And then after the texturing and everything is done, we are going to place it on the palette. Seeing these straps, I think we end up needing to Or I think we will edit our palettes to work with this. So we will, in our palettes, like guide the straps below it and have them then hit here. While in the modern straps, they have like all these links and everything. But we are going to go for something a little bit more simplistic, just because it's a tutorial. I don't want to spend 20 hours on straps, for example. So let's go ahead and continue with all of that in the next chapter.